The year 1841 was for the Irish the beginning of what would throughout the native population come to be known as the Great Starvation. This was due mainly to the failure of the potato crop in that year and the following 6 years. Many historians are of the belief that the famine is the defining event in all of Irish history. While there are those who find this debatable, there can be no doubt whatsoever that this disastrous event had a profound effect on not only Ireland, but also on the countries that welcomed the Irish who fled to escape the Great Starvation. When the potato blight first struck in 1841, the population of Ireland was over 8 million. By the time the Great Starvation ended, the population was only 5 million or thereabouts, with parts of the west of the country almost totally depopulated. Of the missing 3 million, more than 1 million died and the remainder emigrated to America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Britain, and continental Europe, with many of the would-be emigrants dying aboard ship and being buried at sea. Daniel O'Connell, leader of the Catholic emancipation movement in Ireland, appealed to the British House of Commons at the beginning of 1847 by pleading,
"Ireland is in your hands, in your power. If you do not save her, she cannot save herself. I solemnly call upon you to recollect that I predict with the sincerest conviction that a quarter of her population will perish unless you come to her relief."
In the words of the great Dublin songwriter Pete St. John's song The Fields of Athenry, the story of the effect on the suffering native families and the manner in which they tried to keep their starving children alive is plaintively described, as is the extreme punishment meted out to them for merely stealing a few cobs of corn from the government stockpile.
By lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling, "Michael, they are taking you away. For you stole Trevelyan's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay."
We see in this colossal disaster that brought Ireland to its knees the suffering and pain of its people. Although bent and bowed, their spirit remained unbroken. This spirit would throughout the following 1.5 centuries revive, enabling Ireland to become a proud and a prosperous nation. Those who sought refuge from the famine in countries throughout the world also contributed in no small way to the development of their adopted nations. So today, the descendants of Irish immigrants can be found in positions of high office all over the world. While there are those who would argue that there are many causes of disasters such as famine, the Great Starvation still begets a question. And that question is simply, why? This presentation makes no presumption of blame or judgment. It merely asks, why? And the ghosts of the victims of the Great Starvation echo across the centuries as they cry out, why? Why? Oh God, why?